All right, so here is Allie starting out with 100 IM. This is before we did any technique or watched any videos or any drills, just to kind of see where we're at. You could see that she's diving her head down really well. You could see that her feet are kind of coming apart every now and then, and that her kick kind of stops. So that's something that we talked about, was just keeping that kick going.
Moving on to backstroke right here. She's actually got a pretty good backstroke. We'd like to see her head back a little bit more. She's getting good shoulder clearance. A little more engagement with the core. What we mean by that is whenever she's swimming, she looks a little wiggly in the stomach, and if she could, just think about keeping that core a little tighter. That'd help out a whole lot.
All right, transitioning to breaststroke. So in breaststroke, we talk about throwing our body forward and getting our head down. So she could see she's keeping her chin really high, and her head, she dived down a little bit there, but again, just keeping that chin down and keeping it down and driving those hands forward and really snapping that kick. And that's something that we talked about as we swim breaststroke today.
Yeah, as the day went on with that breaststroke, we were trying to keep those hands shallow and keep that face down. Moving on to freestyle, you can see when she goes to take a breath right there, she's dropping that hand down. We really emphasized surfing the hand like it's a little surfboard. She's doing a good job getting on the side. Nice solid kick, but there is a little bit of hand drop right there that we worked on as the day went on.
All right, next we are going to transition to butterfly, and this is after we watched some videos and we did some drills. So again, she's doing a really good job diving down. Her head goes down, her butt comes up. She's squeezing her arms, and those feet are staying together, and that kick is a lot more consistent. And that's what those were our main focal points, and she was executing those very well here.
Yeah, she looked a whole lot stronger on that butterfly, definitely more aggressive. For the backstroke, we talked about keeping our feet at the surface and getting that shoulder to break the surface before we even take the stroke. You can see nice shoulder, clear as the water right there with her feet at it, and she's really throwing that hand down to the side of her leg. Before, she was just kind of slowly finishing her hand. Better emphasis and focus on this backstroke here, and you can see it's a lot sharper.
All right, transitioning to breaststroke. So we talked about her keeping her head up, and that was a big point of emphasis. She had a very nice, strong pullout. And again, this is a new skill, and it's going to take her some time to get used to it, but you could tell she's thinking about it. Her head's coming down more, and her butt is coming up more. So as her head's going down, her hips are going to pop, and that's just got to be a continued point of emphasis as we train that.
And you can see on that breaststroke, even though her head was down, she was still slightly forward, so that's just one of those things she's going to have to keep focusing on. Moving on to this freestyle, we really talked about surfing that hand. You can see now when she's taking that breath, her ear is on her arm, and her hand is fully extended right at the surface. Big improvement.
All right, so now this is 100 IM, and we did this one above the surface, and this was after we talked about everything that we talked about, and we just wanted to see what they were able to do. And again, when we do these kinds of things, it's not about immediate changes, it's about being aware. But you can see she's diving down, she's driving, she's squeezing her hands as she pulls through the water, and is being a lot more consistent with her kick.
Backstroke, her head is back, her hip, you can see her hip clearing the surface of the water right there, feet at the surface, getting her armpit to clear the water like we talked about. She's a very focused girl, and she does well at taking direction. One thing we would like to see is as she approaches this wall for her back to breast transition, pick up the speed a little bit. And this is a problem all the kids kind of had today. They were a little slow in and out of the walls, but we'd really like to see her not separate these hands until she at least gets to the flags. On that breaststroke pullout, pretty solid throwdown, and we'd really like to see the back of that head getting under. She does it right there, but we'd like to see it down a little bit more.
Yeah, and again, there we go. That time she really dove her head down. So that tells us that she knows what it is. And with all these things, it just takes time and repetition to do. So when she goes back to her practices, she knows these things that she needs to work on. So again, freestyle, she could tell she's gripping a lot more water. She's a lot stronger with her hands through the water. Her kick is consistent. We'd like to see a little bit more kick. But this is at the end of a long day. So, Allie, you did a great job. We're very happy with the improvements we made, and we hope that you continue to grow and love this sport.